Chosen ones, the reason you are still standing is not luck, it is not random chance, it is the mark of something greater moving through your life. Some call it destiny, some call it divine protection. I call it the seal that no darkness can break. This seal is not written on your skin, not carved in stone, and not given by the world. It is rooted in something deeper: virtue, discipline, and alignment with the will of heaven. It is the reason the top demon cannot touch you. Even when shadows gather, even when storms rise, there is a force around you that cannot be undone. In this teaching, I will take you through a truth that many overlook. Protection is not simply about being safe, it is about becoming untouchable in spirit. You will learn how ancient Shaolin discipline builds inner armor. You will hear how mindfulness itself becomes a sword that cuts through illusions. You will understand why stillness is more powerful than the strongest attack. There are stories from the old temples, where masters faced trials that would break ordinary men, yet walked through untouched. There are lessons hidden in the way monks trained their breath until no fear could enter. These are not legends, they are maps for those chosen to walk this path. Stay with me until the end, because each step builds on the last. By the final moment, you will see why no demon, outer or inner, can claim victory over you once the seal is alive in your life. This is Shaolin Soulfire. If the fire within you is ready to awaken, subscribe now and walk this path with us. Welcome. Pain is not the proof that you are unprotected. In fact, the chosen path often leads straight through difficulty. Hardship is not the absence of divine care. It is the training ground where your spirit learns to stand unshaken. Think of a tree rooted deep in the earth. Storms bend its branches, rain lashes against it, lightning strikes near. Yet because the roots reach far beneath the soil, the tree endures. Divine protection works in the same way. It does not remove the storm. It anchors you so the storm cannot uproot you. Demons often appear in ways that are easy to misunderstand. Sometimes they arrive through people who challenge you, test you, or try to pull you into despair. Other times they rise from within. Old habits, restless fears, or whispers of doubt that try to weaken your resolve. Many believe protection means none of these forces will ever come. That is not true. Protection means that when they do come, they cannot break you. Shaolin wisdom teaches that the most dangerous battles are not with swords, but with the mind. The voice that says you are not enough, that is the sharpest blade. The thought that urges you to give up, that is the heaviest chain. Yet when you are anchored in awareness, discipline, and faith, these blades cannot cut you. These chains cannot bind you. In the temple, young monks were never shielded from exhaustion, hunger, or fear. They were led into it, so they could discover that their spirit was stronger than all of it. That is divine protection. It is not the removal of hardship, but the realization that hardship cannot touch the essence of who you are. The chosen one does not escape the storm. He walks through it untouched within. In the old teachings, demons were rarely drawn as creatures with claws and fire. They were spoken of as shadows of the mind. Forces that twist clarity into confusion. Greed, anger, and delusion were named as the three great poisons. They cloud vision, they disturb the heart, and they turn the path heavy. Among them there is one enemy greater than all the rest: the illusion of weakness. It is subtle, and it wears many faces. Sometimes it speaks as hesitation. Sometimes it arrives as doubt, whispering that your strength is not enough, that your steps are too small, that your light cannot pierce the dark. This is the top demon, the one that does not come from outside but rises quietly from within. Shaolin practice has always been about confronting this inner battlefield. A master once said, "If you cannot still the noise inside, no silence outside will save you." This is why monks train not only the body, but the breath, the attention, the endurance of the spirit. Each repetition, each ritual is a way of sharpening the inner sword that cuts through self-deception. In Buddhist thought, the Buddha himself faced the demon Mara under the Bodhi tree. Mara did not come with armies of monsters but with doubt, casting visions of fear, offering temptations, whispering reasons to give up. Yet the Buddha remained still, unmoved, grounded in the truth of his own nature. That is the lesson carried into Shaolin halls. Victory is not found in destroying what is outside, but in refusing to be fractured inside. The chosen path is not free of demons. It is the place where demons are seen for what they are, mirrors of the mind. And when you no longer mistake those shadows for your truth, they lose their power over you. Many hear the word discipline and think of restriction, denial, or punishment. But in the Shaolin way, discipline is freedom. It is the steady rhythm that turns weakness into strength and confusion into clarity. Discipline is not something forced upon you. It is the armor you forge for yourself, one choice at a time. The monks of old rose before the sun, not because they were commanded, but because they understood. Each bow, each breath, each movement of the form was a thread weaving together a shield around the spirit. To sit in meditation while the legs ached was not suffering, it was a lesson in stillness, a way of proving that the mind could remain calm even when the body protested. This is how inner armor is built, not in comfort, but in conscious effort. When you train the body, you learn strength. When you train the breath, you learn endurance. When you train the mind, you learn peace. Together they form a foundation that cannot be shaken. Chaos may swirl outside, yet the disciplined one remains steady, like a mountain rising through the clouds. There is an ancient saying, one day without practice is one day without protection. The meaning is simple. Discipline is not a single act, but a living rhythm. Break it, and the armor weakens. Keep it, and every challenge becomes another layer of strength. In this way, discipline becomes more than habit. It becomes devotion. It is the quiet, unseen work that no one applauds, but which keeps the chosen one untouchable. Punishment breaks the spirit, but discipline refines it. And when the storms of life arrive, it is not force that saves you. It is the inner armor you forged when no one was watching. Illusion thrives where the mind is unfocused. It feeds on distraction, on moments when attention drifts and clarity fades. This is why awareness has always been called a blade. It does not fight with force, it cuts cleanly, revealing truth from shadow. In Shaolin practice, a student may spend hours simply watching the breath rise and fall. To an outsider, it looks simple, almost meaningless. Yet within that practice, the mind is being sharpened. Each time attention wanders and is brought back, the blade is honed. With time the edge becomes so clear that even the smallest deception cannot slip past unnoticed. The subtle demons rarely shout, they creep in softly, through laziness, through doubt, through the endless noise of the world. They disguise themselves as comfort, as distraction, as harmless thought. But when the mind is fully present, they are exposed. Like a thief caught in the open light, they lose their power the moment you see them clearly. Ancient teachers compared awareness to a lantern carried through a dark cave. Without it, shapes on the wall seemed terrifying. Giants, monsters, endless threats. But with the lantern you see the truth. They are only shadows. The fear dissolves not because the cave changed, but because your vision did. Awareness is not passive watching, it is active seeing. It is the choice to remain here, in this breath, in this step, without being pulled away by illusions. This sharpness is the true weapon of the disciplined spirit. With it, confusion cannot root and deception cannot thrive. The chosen one does not fight the shadows endlessly. He holds up the light of awareness, and the shadows scatter on their own. In the noise of life, stillness may appear weak, even powerless. Yet in the old teachings, it is called the highest strength. A river rages, a storm howls, but the mountain stands unmoved. This is the image of stillness, not absence of motion, but presence of unshakable depth. When a monk sat in meditation while thunder cracked above the temple roof, he was not hiding from the storm. He was learning to reflect its power, without being broken by it. Stillness became his shield, a mirror of the divine seal that no chaos could touch. In that silence, he was stronger than any warrior, with a sword in his hand. The mind that is restless is easily led astray. It reacts, it clings, it resists every shifting wind. But the calm mind does not chase, and it does not flee. It sees clearly, it holds steady, and in that steadiness lies protection. Enemies may attack, shadows may press close, but they cannot shake what is anchored within. Ancient texts describe the sage as a lake so clear that the heavens are reflected on its surface. Disturb the water, and the reflection shatters. Let it return to stillness, and the image appears again, untouched. In the same way, when your mind is calm, the divine is reflected without distortion. This is why stillness is called the seal. It shows that nothing outside has the power to change your true nature. The chosen path is not about constant motion. It is about learning when to stand, silent and steady, even as the world shakes. For it is not the loudest, nor the strongest, who endure. It is the one who can remain still, unmoved, carrying within a strength the storm cannot reach. To be chosen is not about favor or privilege. It is about alignment. In the old traditions, this was called walking with the Tao, the natural way of things. When a person lives in truth, with compassion in the heart, and discipline in the body, the universe itself becomes an ally. Protection does not need to be demanded. It rises like water flowing to its level, a natural response to harmony. In the temple, young disciples were taught that every action leaves a trace, like footsteps in the sand. Walk with greed, and the ground beneath you weakens. Walk with honesty and care, and the path holds firm. Chaos thrives where there is conflict between inner knowing and outer action. But when thought, word and deed are in unity, chaos finds no place to root. Compassion is not weakness, it is strength in its purest form. To see the suffering of others, and still act with kindness, is to stand above the pull of anger and fear. The one who masters compassion becomes untouchable, for the storms of hatred cannot pierce a heart that does not answer with the same fire. The ancients believed that the universe bends toward balance. To live out of balance is to draw resistance, to invite storms, but to live in alignment is to move with the current of a great river. You no longer fight against the flow, you are carried, supported, protected by it. This is why the chosen one remains safe, not because challenges vanish, but because life itself shields those who walk in truth. To act with discipline, to root choices in compassion, to hold to self-mastery, this is to walk with the law that governs all things. And in that harmony, protection becomes unbreakable. In the Shaolin way, strength is not measured only by force, it is measured by endurance, by the ability to remain, to continue to flow. The old masters would point to a stream running through the mountains. Over time, the water carves valleys, shapes cliffs, even breaks the hardest stone, not because it strikes with power, but because it never stops moving. This is the lesson of protection. The one who resists with brute force may tire, may break, may lose heart when the weight grows heavy, but the one who endures, like water, becomes untouchable. Patience shields where anger cannot. Persistence holds firm where sudden strength fades. Endurance is the quiet armor that carries you across storms. The monks often trained with simple movements, repeated thousands of times. To outsiders it seemed unnecessary, even dull, but within the repetition, patience was forged. Within the unending practice, persistence was born. These qualities are greater than raw strength, for they remain when strength has run out. Ancient texts say, the softest thing under heaven conquers the hardest. Water proves this truth. It bends, it flows, it yields to every obstacle, yet nothing can withstand it in the end. The chosen one learns to embody this same principle, not to resist every challenge with force, but to meet it with steady presence, unbroken flow, and silent endurance. True protection is not the wall that crumbles under pressure. It is the river that wears down the wall, grain by grain, until nothing stands against it. In this way, patience becomes a shield, persistence a weapon, and endurance the seal of one who cannot be defeated. Like water, the chosen one conquers not by striking, but by continuing, without end. The ancients taught that a temple is not only stone and wood. A true temple is built within, carried wherever you walk. The chosen one does not depend on outer walls for protection, for the fortress already lives inside. Every breath, every act of mindfulness, every choice rooted in virtue becomes a brick in that inner sanctuary. A monk once said, when the mind bows, the body is already kneeling. This means that discipline is not only in the posture, but in the heart. When you rise with the dawn to breathe with intention, you are lighting incense within your own spirit. When you sit in silence and watch the thoughts pass like clouds, you are ringing the hidden bell of your inner temple. These small rituals repeated daily build walls that no demon can cross. Greed, anger, fear, they may approach, but they cannot enter a space guarded by clarity and devotion. The temple within is not empty, it is filled with the presence of the divine. Each act of compassion strengthens its foundation. Each moment of discipline polishes its floor. Each breath taken in awareness opens its doors to light. The proof of God's seal is not something you need to search for. It is reflected in the strength of your inner temple. If the storms come and you remain calm, the temple is strong. If shadows press close and you stand in virtue, the temple is alive. Protection is not given once and forgotten. It is renewed each day through ritual, through breath, through mindful living. To carry a temple within is to know that no matter where you stand, mountain, city or wilderness, you are already protected. For the true fortress is not around you, but within you, unshaken and eternal. To walk under divine protection is not to be crowned with pride, it is to be entrusted with duty. The seal is not a trophy to display, but a call to live differently. With it comes responsibility to remain humble, to sharpen discipline, and to serve beyond yourself. The masters taught that true strength is proven, not in how much you can take, but in how much you can give. When protection surrounds you, it is not meant to isolate you from the world, but to allow you to step into it with clarity and courage. Your safety becomes a space where others can find shelter. Your calm presence becomes a shield for those still learning to stand. Humility is the first key. To know you are chosen is not to think you are above others, but to bow deeper, to carry compassion for every life you meet. Discipline is the second key. The seal may be given, but it is strengthened only through daily practice. Breath, ritual, virtue, endurance. Without discipline, protection weakens. With it, protection grows, and then comes service. The chosen one does not guard the light only for themselves. They carry it into the dark, so others may see. They become proof that the storm can be endured, that chaos can be faced without being consumed. This is how protection transforms from personal shield into a force that lifts the many. In this way, the chosen path expands. What began as protection for one becomes protection for many. The presence of a disciplined, humble and compassionate soul is itself a fortress. Divine protection is not the end of the journey. It is the beginning of your responsibility to embody the seal for the sake of others. Chosen ones live under a seal that no force of darkness can break. But this seal isn't blind luck. It's cultivated through discipline, mindfulness, endurance, and alignment with higher law. Demons may roar, but they cannot pierce the heart that stands still, awake and devoted. Protection is not outside you. It is born from within and flows from above.